how it is when you show up the next day, or when you do that for a sustained period of time. Because the truth is, you're not faking out, the gods of time by buying a couple hours up until 1 a.m. because the next day you're losing those hours because you're just not as efficient. So taking care of yourself is huge. Exercise, the way you eat, all of that. Empowerment is, I don't know what that is. I think that just covers a lot of these things. Empowerment means taking the power to change. It means having accountability for making these changes. So give me some examples of Quadrant 2 that you either already do or know that you could do or would be valuable if you did do.
I spent a lot of time this last week working on getting my Outlook available to me on the web, where it's on my phone, so my schedule is always with me.
Yes. Calendaring.
Calendaring thing.
Yeah, is definitely a planning ahead activity. What else?
Taking time to participate in this workshop.
Undoubtedly, yes. And can you see how something like that, so the idea behind Quadrant 2 is that if you spend time there, it saves you time down the road. And this is why, I think, this is why we end up in urgency in Quadrant 1 so much, is because if you go to something like being here today for an hour and a half, or if you go to, I'm going to spend all this time on my Outlook calendar getting it up and ready to go, most people have a part of their brain that goes, in fact, sometimes it's their whole brain, because I could be doing something else right now. I could be clearing this urgency off my desk. So the reason that I talk to you about it being an entirely new way of thinking and looking at things is because we manage our time pretty unconsciously. We manage it basically the way that we've learned to manage it. And so we don't really think very much often of what is the best use of your time. Quadrant 2 invites you to kind of wake up, and to really consciously say, is this the best use of our time? So the person who just said, coming to this, this webinar, explain how this is Quadrant 2 in the sense that it saves you time down the road. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm just trying.
Oh.
I actually had another thought. I'm thinking Quadrant 2 is more proactive versus Quadrant 1 being reactive.
Very good. Yep.
Tammy, this is Sharon. Elise has indicated they're creating some systems. I'm not sure if you're seeing that chat. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. I wasn't looking. Let me look. Okay, Elise, creating systems for file management, intake, calendaring, document preparation, follow-up. Yes. So all of that creates time down the road. So if you think about this system, it's a way of approaching time where you are doing something consciously now to save you time later. But if you are busy and stressed out, you're not going to go do, client file preparation, organization, all of that. I think for many people, cleaning off their desk at the end of the day is Quadrant 2. Many people find that if their desk is clean in the morning, they're more efficient and they actually get more done. And those same people often don't do it because they're so stressed. They're working so hard that they work, and then they leave, the file open on their desk when they go home, right? And then in the morning you come in, and there's this feeling for many people. I don't know if it's everybody, but I've heard so many of my clients say this. There's this feeling of like, oh, wow, look at all that stuff on my desk. So it's that kind of approach where you say, if I spent 5 minutes cleaning this up right now, in the morning I would feel better when I came in, which actually brings me to another thought, which is that I really think time management is somewhat of a misnomer. I use it because I think people can really relate to it. I really believe that the better term is energy management. I really believe that if you want to be truly effective, you've got to manage your energy well. And that is a good example of it. Energetically, if you clear off your desk at night, you come in the morning, it's not that you do or don't have more or less to do. It's that you feel better about it and you'll be more efficient. So, and it's the same thing with, if you get enough sleep. That's just a very clear way of managing your energy, to get enough sleep. You come in the next day, you feel better. So let's talk then about where do you find the time to work in quadrant 2? Because of course we're busy already, and now I'm telling you to prepare more. So let's just see about how to do that. And that means moving to quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 is very entertaining. It's kind of funny. So you can see right at the top there, right? It's urgent, but it's not important, which I think, makes me laugh, because what could be urgent but not important? And as you guys look at this list here, which says interruptions, some mail, some means, if you look at that list, before I even discuss it, tell me the things that you react to that are urgent but not important. What can you think of? So this addresses the reactive tendency we have when something is urgent. Right? It addresses the fact that we tend to react to urgency, period, whether it's important or not. You guys think of where you do that, where you react to urgency that's not actually really important to you at that time?
Colleague walks into my office to chat.
Yep. Yeah. Or colleague walks into your office and goes, oh my God, I need to figure this out right now. Can you help me? Because the thing is that this quadrant is not that it's not important at all ever. The distinction about this quadrant is it's not important to you now. So what I call this is other people's urgencies. And so typical examples of other people's urgencies are, yes, somebody coming into your office and wanting something from you, email and phone calls. So email and phone calls are great examples because what you have with those two is it feels like an urgency. Right? I had a client write a blog for me once, and she said, I always answer the phone because when I was growing up, there was no answering machine. So you always answered the phone, and I could never get out of that. When the phone rings, you answer the phone. But it's a good example because a ringing phone seems urgent. An email seems urgent. Like, it's there now, I've got to go answer it. Now, why does email seem urgent? I mean, I believe it seems urgent because we've trained ourselves to react to it as an urgency. But it's not important at that moment in time. So here's the important distinction. We're reacting to something this moment that doesn't need our attention this moment. So that's what we mean by not important at this time. And so this is interruptions and distractions and other people's urgencies. And this, my friends, is where you get your time back. By learning how to deal with distractions and urgencies. Now, I could do an entire webinar probably on this topic. I'm going to give you enough right now so that you can go out and figure out on your own. There will be a piece of homework at the end here where you track your time and you really look at where you're spending your time. And then I will invite you to look there for where are the distractions that I don't really need to be reacting to. So for example, many of my clients, when they realize this about email, one thing they try, now, when I give you specific techniques, by the way, they're really just for purposes of illustration. because everybody approaches time differently, I think based partly on their personality, even once they start to do it consciously. So really think of these as examples and then figure out what would work for you. But many of my clients, when they realize this quadrant 3 phenomenon, what they realize is that there's a better way to deal with email. So for purposes of illustrating how to make a quadrant 3 type change, what many of them will do is they will say, you know, I have my email up all day. And many people even have a little auditory indicator on their email. That's pretty cool. So that's like there's like this Pavlovian response, you know. There's a ding and I run to my email to see what it is, right, without even thinking about it. I have been working with these tools for over 5 years. I still sometimes do